Chapter 32. Friendship, Last Moments, and Alive Nightmares. The next early evening. I have been hanging out with Cedric for a while, just casually talking. We've actually become good friends. But I'm starting to get scared and nervous that something bad will happen to him. But after a bit, he noticed that I was acting off and seeming a little quiet. "Miranda, is something wrong?" he asked. "Don't worry," I stated, trying to reassure him. "I'll be okay." "Are you sure? You can tell me." "I appreciate you being concerned, Cedric. I'm just worried for you and Harry. That's all." "Worried? Why? About the tournament?" I nodded my head. "Remember what I was telling you once before? Worried about what could happen?" "Yeah, but I swear to you that things will be fine. There's nothing to be afraid of. I'll try my best and I'm sure Harry will too." "I know you and Harry both will. It's just... Just what?" "It's just... Something doesn't seem right about everything this year, really. Something just seems off. Professor Dumbledore and Professor Snape have tried to reassure me and not worry so much now. If something does happen, I know Professor Dumbledore will look after all of us and do what is necessary for protection. But still, I just can't help but be worried and have this sinking feeling that something will go wrong." He grabbed my hand as we looked at each other, not really even realizing that I had tears in my eyes. "I'll try to do what I can to be safe. I appreciate you being worried and concerned for my safety. I know how talented you are, and I'm sorry for being worried. You don't need to apologize at all, Miranda. You're just being a good friend." I couldn't help but smile softly. "I try to be." You are. You are a friend to me, and a gorgeous one at that. Not just that, but kind-hearted, sweet, and caring." I smiled even more. "You are also, Cedric," I giggled. "Not the gorgeous part, obviously, but the rest." He chuckled. "I know what you mean, but I believe it, because it's true." "You know, Ced, I'm really glad that you and I decided to be friends like this. It's been great this school year since the summer to get to know you, and briefly your dad, too." "You're too kind, Miranda. But I feel the same way. You're a great person, like I said. I was unsure at first if you ever wanted to be friends like that, and I'm glad I decided to." We both smiled at each other as it was truly warming my heart with what he said. Breaking the silence, he suddenly said, "This tournament game is surely something, isn't it?" I glanced at him for a moment, complex, decided to nod my head in partial agreement. "I mean, in a way, yeah, but at the same time, it is a chance for us students at different schools to get a chance to make friends and meet new people, to come together. You know, I couldn't have said it better myself. Since you mentioned it, I appreciate you looking out for Harry a bit with the second task. It was no trouble, honestly. He did the same for me for the first task. He seems like a decent person." I smiled. "Yeah, he is. He really is a great person and a wonderful friend." Cedric looked at me for a moment. "He means a lot to you, doesn't he, Harry?" I nodded my head. "Yeah, he means a lot. He's one of my best friends, despite both of us trying to be in a relationship. Being as close as a friend is all I can ask for. I know he feels the same with me, Hermione, and Ron, too. He seems to look out for you from what I witnessed and heard. He tries to in small ways. He's always like that. I think, in a way, we look out for each other, considering also that we're alike in diverse ways as well." "Do you love him?" "As a best friend, yeah, of course. But in love with him? Not anymore. Because even Snape, correct?" "Yeah." I glanced down at my legs, fidgeting with my fingers. I saw him place a hand on my legs. We looked at each other once more. "Don't worry, Miranda. I won't say anything. You're a friend to me. I wouldn't dare to betray you and your trust in me in that sort of way." I smiled sweetly. "That means a lot," said. "Thanks." He smiled back as we continued to talk about random things and topics for quite some time. Getting to know one another more and getting semi-close to him as a friend was another kind of friendship I didn't know I needed this year. As we were getting ready to say goodbye, I looked at him kindly and admitted, "Honestly didn't know your growing friendship was something I needed this year," said. "Thank you for spending time with me and getting to know me. I'm glad to call you a friend." He smiled big in a sweet way. "I feel the same way. It is my pleasure to get to know you too. I'm thankful for the friendship I found with you and hope we can continue it in the future." We hugged each other goodbye as I waved to and he started to walk away. I started to walk away, deciding to pay a visit to Professor Dumbledore. Yes, clearly I was still nervous about what could come. A couple minutes later, I knocked on the door to his office and it then opened, letting me in. Walking in, I saw Professor Dumbledore sitting at his desk and Severus was sitting in a chair in front of his desk. This explains where Severus was. I wasn't expecting to see him. I couldn't help but smile as I went over and happily sat next to Severus. He smiled softly at me, grabbing my right hand and kissing it as a greeting. I glanced at Dumbledore with curious eyes, admitting, "Sir, I had a feeling that you wanted to see me, so I came here instead of going to the common room. I was spending time with Cedric Diggory." "Ah, it's wonderful to hear that you're making friends. That is the point of this tournament, after all. I'm glad you stopped by, though, Miranda, because I wanted to ask you something about the dread dream that you had. I was actually about to have Severus fetch you." "What about the bad dream, sir?" Now I was fully curious about what he was going to ask me. The last decision he made in my dreams was to tell me not to worry so much about them. The last thing I want, though, is for my nightmares to come true. "I was wondering if you have dreamt of it again recently since you told me, that is." "Sir, I have actually last night, truthfully." Severus glanced at me. "Why didn't you tell me, Miranda?" I muttered, "I didn't want to worry you, Severus." "Go on, Miranda," Dumbledore said. I sighed but blunted. Well, this time in my dream I saw Cedric getting killed. It was horrible. I shook some as Severus grabbed my hand, held onto it, and squeezed it. I'm thankful Severus is here, too. I wouldn't be able to compose myself if it were me in here with Dumbledore. I watched Dumbledore as he made us all a cup of something hot. Maybe it was some sort of tea, hot cocoa, or heated up pumpkin juice. He looked at me comfortably. "Don't worry, Miranda. It's going to be all right. Here, have some hot cocoa." He handed me a cup and I took a sip. I smiled softly as the soothing feeling went down my throat into my chest, making me feel warm inside. Severus and Professor Dumbledore had some too and were taking sips. After mine was half empty, I started to feel better, actually. I asked Dumbledore while taking another small sip, "Sir, when will we be having the final task of the tournament?" If I'm not mistaken, Miranda, in a couple of days or so. I should probably tell you that Severus will be nearby to watch you closely." I nodded my head in response as I turned my head to look at Severus, who looked back comfortingly in a way. Do they know something that I don't? After that, we continued to talk and drink our hot cocoa. It all comforted me in a way that I wasn't anxious anymore. Soon, Severus and I said bye to Dumbledore as we left, noticing it was getting semi-late into the night. Severus and I were walking hand in hand along the hallway, and I couldn't help but smile. After walking for a bit, we came to the herb storage closet by the potions room. He led me in there and closed the door behind me. Curiously, I looked at him and questioned, "Severus, what are you doing?" I was trying to ask what we were doing in here, but suddenly got cut off by feeling his lips on mine. I kissed him back softly and I smiled, but also wondered what we were doing in here. He let go, but had his arms wrapped around my waist. I wrapped my arms around his neck and asked, "What was all that for?" After tonight, I don't know when we can be alone like this again, knowing the possibility of how everything will change soon. I smiled softly as I bit my lip and got on my tiptoes to wrap my arms around his neck. "Well, let's make the most of it," I stated as I pecked his lips. He kissed back as I felt him smile ever so softly in response. We stood there in that room, making out for what seemed like ages. Afterward, he lightly pushed me against the wall, hearing potions get knocked over as I wrapped my legs around his waist. I felt him kiss my neck and jawline as I moaned softly. We continued to do this for a while until he finally pulled back, realizing we shouldn't be in here and doing this for a long time. After catching my breath, I looked at the ground, noticing how close together we've been. He tilted my chin as I looked into his eyes, and he was honest. "You mean a lot to me, Miranda. I do care for you a lot, even though a part of me will always feel some way for Lily. I shouldn't feel like this for obvious reasons, but I do, and I don't want to hide it any longer. I love you." I smiled in complete awe as I kissed his cheek. "Ditto. I love you too, Severus." The next evening, I was sitting with Harry, Hermione, and Ron in the common room by the fireplace staring at the fire. I couldn't help but realize that some of my nightmares were really coming alive. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty positive now they might. Everything could change, and once it does, it'll never be the same. I heard Ron ask me, "Miranda, are you alright? You seem zoned out and out of it." "Yeah, I'm alright, Ron. Just thinking about something that's on my mind. That's all." I gave him a small, comforting smile as he smiled back at me with concern still. Hermione rubbed my back, trying to help relax me. It'll be alright, Miranda. Whatever's on your mind, you could tell us. Don't think too much about it. It's going to be okay. I couldn't manage to say anything as I looked over at Harry, noticing something was on his mind, too. I asked, Harry, what's wrong? Besides Mr. Crouch dying recently. I saw Igor and Snape in the herb storage closet, and they were talking about some type of sign. Wait, what? Harry, when did that happen? After I left from seeing Dumbledore. Why? I was with Severus yesterday, as I have been lately, and he didn't say anything. I was with him yesterday in his supply closet. Why didn't you tell me this? We made out, and he's been telling me not to worry when Igor told him that. I hope what I'm thinking is the one I'm thinking of. I thought for a moment and raised my eyebrows. Harry, didn't you say that Igor was a Death Eater and went to prison from what you saw? Harry told us from what he saw in the pensive and everything that followed. Yeah, and once someone is a Death Eater, Miranda, they'll never stop being one. Harry responded directly to me. I gulped suddenly, thinking about Severus again. Everything that happened when I was with him in Dumbledore's office, that weird look they gave each other. Is that why Dumbledore said that Severus would be watching me closely? I looked at Harry, pulling out of my thoughts. You also mean Severus, don't you, Harry? He didn't say anything back as he glanced at me. I sighed silently as I honestly didn't know what to think anymore. He didn't want to say anything to hurt me since I was dating our potions master and having strong feelings for him too. But I know the risk of dating him, and yet I still am anyway. Is Severus partly hiding something from me? It was quiet for a minute until Harry comfortably grabbed my hand. Miranda, I wasn't talking about Snape in that way to hurt you. I'm sorry. It's fine, Harry. Miranda, I know you and Snape are dating or have some strong feelings or whatever, but I'm really happy for you. I haven't seen you this happy in a long time. I'll be with you through this and anything at all, really. I mean that. After all, you're my best friend. Harry and I looked at each other as I smiled and he smiled back. I'm so glad to have him as a friend. Ron and Hermione said at the same time, I'll be with you through all this too, Miranda. I chuckled, feeling loved. Thanks, guys. You three are the best friends ever. We all smiled and continued to sit by the fireplace for a while until we turned in for the night. Before I fell asleep, I thought of Severus and how everyone's life could change in such a short time.